guys, and welcome back to another Money Tip Monday. My name is Lizzie Hofer, and I am a residential loan officer here in the Phoenix area, teaching practical money tips to help you make smart home purchases. Today on Money Tip, I'm going to be discussing the economy, what I think the state is, where I think it's headed, and what you can do to learn from historical mistakes that people made before and after the recession. Now, before I get into all of that, I am gonna need you to like, comment, and subscribe to this awesome channel because I know you don't wanna miss an awesome money tip in the future. For starters, right, I'm gonna do a quick synopsis on where I think the economy is. I did a way longer explanation in the video that's gonna be linked below, but essentially we find ourselves in a time where we have a lot of conflicting media. And we're starting to see historical references to S&P 500 just reached its highest levels in 18 years. Interest rates just marked their lowest interest in 3.5 years. And we've seen these things happen historically right before there was a correction. Here's my thing, right? People are very emotional when it comes to money, and they're gonna have lots of varying opinions on the economy's great, the economy sucks. And I'm not saying the sky is falling, but I will tell you this. Of all of my experience working in the financial industry, there is absolutely zero penalty for being prepared and practicing sound financial decisions. So let's get into all of the previous money mistakes made before and during the recession. So the first financial mistake that I saw lots of people making in the early 2000s was living off of credit. And credit could be credit cards. It was a lot of times home equity because housing prices kept accelerating and appreciating, and people were qualifying for homes that, quite frankly, they couldn't really afford. My best philosophy when it comes to budgeting and lifestyle is that it shouldn't be any more than 70% of your net take-home income. Now, I do want to say that this is not a mortgage guideline. In fact, people qualify way beyond that, and they qualify to their own personal budgets. But having worked in the financial industry now for almost 17 years, this is the plan that I actually find to be the most successful. 70% of your budget still allows you to have freedom. It still allows you to feel like you're not on a financial diet, depending on how much debt you have, right? And, if you make 30 to 50% of that budget attributed to housing, you can still buy a pretty great property. What I like about this strategy is that it allows for additional money to go towards paying off debt, purchasing additional assets, creating a different income stream, right? But if you're spending every penny you have on living, right, if there is a potential bust in the future, you're really exposing yourself by being over leveraged. Now, the second big mistake that I saw people make is that they depended solely on their earned income. And earned income, guys, is you go to work and then you earn income. It could be through sales, commissions, bonuses, overtimes, tips. But the thing that you physically wake up in the morning and show up to work to do is paid through what's called earned income. And the problem with that is that in times where the economy isn't so great, people spend less, right? So people's bonuses are less, their commissions are less, companies are less apt to pay shift differentials and overtime, right? They're a whole lot less flexible, right, with raises. In some cases, we saw lots of furloughs. And if you aren't prepared to have multiple income streams, this could really hurt you. And multiple income streams can be rental income, dividend income, a side hustle business, a second job, right? It could be, things that you learn to make and sell over the internet, network marketing. I mean, there is a variety of different ways that you can have multiple streams of income, but it's important to think about what those could be and how you could be investing in those and not just rely on things like earned income. Now, the third mistake that I saw people make was not diversifying in their investment and retirement strategy. So I heard many people lose, primarily because they sold, but they ended up investing in just one thing. So I had people only invested in real estate, people only invested in the stock market, people only invested in certain things. And when there is major panic in the markets, we see that people sell at such a great extent because they're so worried they're never going to recoup, right, their investment. And so they're willing to say, okay, I've lost this much, I don't want to lose any more. And what that ends up doing is that it causes massive panic in the markets, and people actually end up losing more when they sell during these times. But the other thing is that if you were diversified, right, you may not be as impacted as you would be if you over leveraged yourself in a certain area. So my big thing is that I personally maximize my 401k, maximize my IRA. I have real estate properties, and I also invest doing dollar cost averaging in the stock market. Now, one thing I will tell you is that I never invest on the premise of appreciation. This is also another mistake that people make. I don't invest knowing, okay, this is going to be worth X number of dollars in so long. I invest primarily in what's called cash flow. So how many things can create additional income streams to then compound on each other? For me, this is the most, effective way of one growing wealth and creating multiple streams of income. Dividends, even though they're not as high during economic recessions, many companies still did pay out a dividend. So it is just something to pay attention to, right? So look for, in my opinion, cash flow assets. Now, one of the other mistakes that I feel like people made, and I did talk about this a little bit already in step number 1, was people weren't really focused on debt reduction. A lot of people ended up getting into debt, doing a cash out refinance, paying off all their debt just to rack up all the debt again. And that's not really reductions, right? So when you're living off of 70% of your budget, typically I like to recommend that 20% goes to paying off principal balances of debt that you have, credit cards, installments, if there's any money that you've borrowed. And the reason for this is because when there is economic hard time, you want to have as minimal amount of debts as possible, right? We want to expand that 70% and stretch it as far as it will go. And you can't possibly do that if you have lots of little payments out there. Now, the fifth and final mistake that I saw people make was trying to time the market. It's just so scary because I see it happen all the time. When everyone wants to buy, right? Prices are high. They're at their worst opportunities to purchase. Everyone wants to do it. They want to buy when stocks are crazy high in price. They want to buy real estate when interest rates are high and the supply is low. I mean, it's crazy. And then they sell at radical amounts when people get scared. And you never make money that way. You only make money when you consistently invest, consistently pay down debt, consistently manage your finances. It is so impossible to time the market for any good strategy, and just doing what the masses do isn't always the best strategy. There is that old adage, if they all jump off a bridge, are you going to? I did elaborate on that specifically in last week's video, so definitely watch that if you want to learn 1, more about the economy, and then 2, about just not timing the market and doing dollar cost averaging, and understanding that if you are buying for your budget, even in times where properties are appreciating at an accelerated rate, sometimes it makes sense because of low interest rates. So definitely go ahead and watch that if you'd like to learn more about that. But this is really the best advice I can give you guys for learning from historical mistakes. I created a budget sheet that is available on our website for download because I want you guys to know and not be afraid of money, right? There's lots of people who teach you to stay away from credit and to buy with 20% down and 15-year mortgages, and all of that is really great advice, but it also makes it difficult for you to invest when times are good. My strategy is just about being practical, living, right? Not, eating tuna sandwiches every single day. It's about having lifestyle and learning what to do with the percentages of your income over a long period of time. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Would love to hear what financial strategies you think are the most sound, and would also love to hear your opinions on what you think is happening in the economy. So Don't be afraid to comment below, send me a message. I love to respond to these. And as always, guys, it is my honor to help you with money tips, and I hope that this year is literally your best financial year ever.